Last class for the month of January. All month long, we've focused on witnessing, taking a deeper notice of our habits on and off the yoga mat, and how taking that notice might propel us to some positive release, some positive taking in. I want to read this short passage from, this is from a journal I'm working on, Glennon Doyle's Get Untamed, and it's a really pretty picture. I know I'm far away, but this is a watercoloring of a tree, and you see both the bloom up top and the roots on the bottom. So turn the gaze low or close the eyes for a moment, step into the breath, and take in these words. I reach deeply into the rich soil beneath me, made up of every girl and woman I've ever been, every face I've loved, every love I've lost, every place I've been, every conversation I've had, everything, crumbling and mixing and decomposing underneath, nothing wasted. My entire past there, holding me up and feeding me now. I am as ancient as the earth I'm planted in, and as new as my tiniest bloom. I am strong, singular, alive, still growing. I have everything I need, beneath me, above me, inside me. I love that last line in particular, and thinking of how we're witnessing ourselves in this moment. I'll read it again. Still growing. I have everything I need beneath me, above me, inside me. Take just a couple more breaths here in this seat. Let the words sink in that you related with. Let that come into the intention for this time for movement. And this is our Yoga Hour sequence 3. I'm going to put on some upbeat music for those that are practicing live. And we're going to move at a pretty quick pace today. That is my intention, to heat you up from the inside. To open, just bow the chin down towards your chest and take both hands behind your head. And push the back of the head up into your hands so that you have a nice stretch from the top of the spine leading down towards the floor. And then also pull your navel in. Strengthen the front side of the body. And then release the hands behind you. Lift the chest. Open across collarbone to collarbone. Look up towards the sky. Big breath. As you release it out, change over to all fours. And as you change to all fours, hands right under the shoulders, knees underneath the line of the hips, start to rock back and forth in cat and cow. Some fun, more pop music today. Sometimes just changing up the surroundings and how things are coming in. Makes us see ourselves in a different way. One more round of cat and cow. And then settle into a more neutral spine. Turn your hands around. Fingers to face towards the knees. If that's too much, make the fingers face out towards the side of your mat. Like a tiger tail, lift your right leg up into the air. And swing it a little bit from side to side. So we're getting this nice stretch through the wrist and forearms, and just warming up through the glutes and hamstrings a little bit with a nice swing. All right, set the right leg down, keep it going, left side. If your hands have taken enough by now, feel free to just flip them back around. Swing a couple more times. And we're done. Sit back on your heels. Interlace the hands, flip the palms, reach the arms up to the sky. Take the hands behind your back, interlace. Squeeze the elbows together, roll the shoulders up and back, look towards the sky. If it's still okay for you here, straighten the arms. I like to lean all the way back to make the knuckles touch the floor here. And then release and come all the way out to good old plank pose. Friends, top of the plank, you have the choice to hold it or throw in some push-up reps. Elbows close to your side for those tricep push-ups. Try a few. Keep going on the knees if you'd like. And then downward facing dog. Whew, that's a quick way to heat our bodies, yeah? Downward facing dog, pedal out your feet a little bit. Let the head relax, shake it out. Find a little more stillness in downward facing dog. Press the hands down and forward. Think thighs back, heels down. Let out the exhale. Come back forward to plank pose and lie flat down onto your belly. Interlace your hands behind your back. Anytime we're interlaced, you can keep those hands open if you prefer. And lift everything that you can high. Shalabhasana. Lower it down and bend your knees. Take the hands behind your head. Inner edges of the feet together, knees apart, elbows apart. Lift as much as you can up. Oh my goodness, it's hard. Lift. Lower it all the way down. Press back to child's pose. Hips to your heels. Full breath in and out. Change to downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up into the air for a three-legged dog. Step it all the way forward into a low lunge. Lift up to high lunge, hands to the sky. Big proud pose. Let's take it right into the twist, left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Good, look down at the ground. Step forward into a twisted chair pose. Twisted chair pose. Take your gaze back to the side or up. Untwist, stand all the way up, arms to the sky. This time, come into the twisted chair pose on the second side first. Right elbow to the outside of the left leg. Experiencing how it might feel different in the body doing these poses in a different sequence. Step the right foot back. Try to hold the twist. And then untwist, lift the arms up to the sky in that high lunge. It's tricky, right? Lower the hands, three-legged dog, left leg goes up and back. Lower the left leg down, walk your hands back to your toes. Here at the end of the mat, make all 10 fingers touch the ground and then make the legs as straight as they'll go. Change, stand up, hands to the waist, point the elbows to the sky, come all the way up. Lift both arms to the sky. Stay here at the back of the mat, palms together, cross your thumbs and reach, reach, reach. Awesome, lean over to the right side. Little more, little more. Good, come to the center. Up and over to the second side. Squeeze the upper arm bones on your ears or even behind them. Excellent, come back to the center. Exhale, forward fold. Walk it all the way out to downward facing dog. This time start with the left leg high, three-legged dog. Step forward to your lunge. Warrior two, spin the back heel down, come all the way open. Hips, shoulders in line with one another. All that energy broad towards the long side of your mat. Gaze over the front fingertips and sit a little bit lower. Find the challenge through each pose today. Notice what happens when you take that extra little push. Let's change hands to the waist. Warrior one, so I want you to turn the back foot in a bit. I have to take a slightly shorter stance to make it all work. Shift the hips, shoulders to face towards that short edge of the mat and lift the arms up again. Little different transition here. We're going right into tree pose. Try your best to keep the arms up. Step into the front leg and place your right foot onto the left leg for tree pose. It can be above or below the knee, it doesn't matter. It's just that work of using range of motion, active without the hands. And then walk yourself back out of this to warrior one. Front knee bent, back leg straight. And then open it up to warrior two. Perfect. Lower the hands down around the front foot. Step to plank pose. Down to the mat, chaturanga, into cobra or up dog, and downward facing dog. For the second side here, lift the right leg up into the air. Step it all the way through to your low lunge. And we're starting with warrior two. Spin the back heel down, open it up. Feel free to have some movement here. Don't feel stuck in the pose. Take it in. And then we're changing to warrior one. I like to take the back hand down to the hips, maybe both hands, to help with that transition. Turn hips and shoulders. Feel solid, steady in the legs, and then lift the arms again. Tree pose. Don't overthink this one. Put the weight into the front foot. Step the left leg into tree. Toes could stay on the floor, right at ankle, come up higher to the calf, or way higher to the thigh. And then walk yourself back out of it. Find warrior one first. Into warrior two. Awesome job. Take the hands down, step back to plank. Lower to the mat, peel the chest up in cobra. Everyone downward facing dog. Take several breaths here in downward facing dog. Give your head a little bit of a shake. Continue to open the mouth and Release the air as needed and wanted. Look forward to the front of the mat. Step or jump all the way forward. Half lift. Forward fold. Stand up. Reach the arms to the sky. Palms together, center of the chest. Utkatasana. Back into that chair pose. Bend the knees, sit into your thighs. Try to look forward and past the fingertips. And then exhale, forward fold. Half lift. Plank pose. Go through the flow, lower down. Lift for cobra or up dog. Into downward facing dog. Back to right leg. First, lift the right leg into the air, three-legged dog. Step it all the way forward into your long, low lunge. Shift the hips a little forward and back here for a moment. Continue to warm things up through this dynamic movement. And we're headed into a little more balanced pose. So keep that right knee bent. Walk the hands up to the waist. Find strength in the core. Shift your weight into the right leg until you can lift the left leg off of the floor and send the arms back behind you. Imagine yourself in Shalabhasana in those lifted locust poses. You're more levitated now. And then from elevated locust, just switch the arms forward to make it warrior three. I always think of superhero flying through the air here. Not quite done. Change this to eagle pose. Wrap the left leg over the right. Send the left elbow under the right. As upright as possible in the torso. And then squeeze everything tight towards the midline. Release both feet to the ground. Unwrap the arms. Lift them up to the sky. Exhale, bend the knees, sit into your thighs. Utkatasana. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step back to plank and lower down to the mat. Cobra, peel the chest up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Here comes the second side. Lift the left leg high, three-legged dog. Take your time to step it all the way forward. Find that low lunge. No rush here. We start to just rock the legs back and forth. Know that you can always move at your own pace. I'm simply offering one pace. And you can find what works for you along this practice. Sometimes faster, sometimes slower. Just like the opportunity to change, to take the same or slightly different pose. Okay, we stay into the front knee bent. Bring the hands up to the waist and right away, stronger in the core. Shift the weight to the left leg. Modification, right foot stays down on the ground, a little lift, or all the way up towards the line of the butt. Hands back for your elevated locust pose. I always think of levitation right here. And then send that soaring out even further, arms forward, warrior three. If you wobble and bobble, no big deal. You just try to pick it back up where you fell off. Stand upright to change to eagle pose. Wrap your right leg over the left. Cross at the upper thigh so that you can squeeze calf to the outer calf. Foot to the outer calf. Wrap the right arm under the left. Tendency here is to want to lean forward and have the elbows close to the knees. Create more distance, more upright. Okay, two legs to the ground. Unwrap the arms way up high. Exhale, forward fold. Stay right here in your forward fold. Take another breath. And then come back up to standing. Hands to the waist, press down into the feet, come all the way up. All the way, all the way. Transition to a wide-legged straddle, so face the long edge of your mat. With your straddle, toes forward, heels back. Feet parallel to one another. Fold from the waist. Hands down to the floor. Take the hands out under the line of the shoulders. So if your feet are in the center of your mat, then when you place the hands down, like me, they're probably not on the mat because we want that full long length of the torso. Try to look forward. Imagine you're trying to do a back bend. Keep that full length. Now walk your hands in to the same line as your feet in the center of the mat and head down towards the mat. For all of you that aim to get your head to touch the mat, some tricks of the trade, of course, the wider your feet are, the less distance the torso will have to reach down. Have just a little bend in the knees and see if that helps. And you've got to keep that long length in the torso. Any curl through the spine is going to make it harder as well. One more breath in this wide-legged forward fold. And then bring the hands up to the waist, press down and out through your feet to come all the way up in the torso. All right, I'm going to try to mirror y'all here. Let's take triangle pose. Turn the right toes out to face the short side of the mat. And then look at your back foot and turn the toes just slightly in, slightly towards the same way as the right foot. Good. Lean over. Lean your head towards your right leg and then take the right hand down to either your leg or the floor, whichever it reaches. Top arm up to the sky. Imagine a line from that bottom hand straight, like you pulled back a bow and arrow, straight up to the top hand. Don't let the head get in the way. That applies to so much. Stay here, breath, heart, working together. Stand all the way upright. Take the hands back to your waist. Turn on your feet. So now the right toes turn in just a bit to head in the direction we're aiming towards the front foot. If your hands stay at the waist first, you can emphasize press through the hip, hinge at the hip to take the head over towards that left foot and then just send the arm down. And for me, I'm not reaching down. It's just like place it. Where does it go to? Is it leg or floor? One is not better than the other one. In fact, if we don't reach that bottom hand more than we can handle, it'll be way easier to pull that bow straight up towards the sky. Don't let the head get caught in its aim. Lean it back. Let's stand it all the way back up. Good times. Turn on the feet one more time. Here, back to the first side, right toes turned all the way out. Instead of just barely turning in that back foot, turn it in a lot so that we can fully shift hips and shoulders more like when you do in Warrior One to face that front foot, short side of the mat. Lift your left arm up to the sky. Hinge at the hips again. Revolve triangle pose. Take the left hand down. Try it on the pinky toe side of your foot. Last class of the month, why not? Go for it. Top arm, same bow and arrow. Pull it all the way straight up to the sky as much as possible. Give it another breath. And then come all the way back upright and switch your feet. Turn them again 180 degrees. Face the other side. So as you turn the back foot in sharply, if I were to look down here, I like heel to heel alignment so that it gives the hip width. If your balance works with heel to the middle of the back foot, that's what I'd call a more traditional stance. But just because it was done one way doesn't mean it works the right way for you. Yeah, so figure it out. What is the best way for you to come into this pose? And then right hand up, hinge over. And the only way to know is try different things. Try to get that full cross today. Fingertips to the pinky toe side of the foot. Big twist. We did some earlier to help prepare here. Try to press through the back outer heel. And then make your way back upright. Sometimes one pose, one side at a time, really helps to see where the habits and practices are. Let's go back to our wide-legged forward fold. We've already been here. Try it again. This time, hands just right on down towards the line of the feet. And head down as well. Now rock your weight more forward into your toes, almost like you can lift up your heels. As you do that, supercharge the front of your legs, lift up on the kneecaps, tone in your quads. That makes for a nice steady stretch, good and safe down the back of the legs. Let's go hands back to the waist. Come on, upright. Halfway into class, we've done a lot of great standing and balance poses. Come on to the front of the mat. Lift the arms up to the sky. We're going to get a little lower and into some arm balances for the second half of class. Exhale, forward fold here. Keep the right foot forward. Step your left foot back into a low lunge and set the back knee down to the mat. Anjaneyasana, lift the torso upright, lift the arms to the sky. This is also called monkey lunge. I think in honor of Ganesha making a big leap across. Lower the hands down, shift the hips back, straighten the front leg. And then go back into the bend of the front knee, both hands to the inside of the foot now. Heel toe the right foot out to the side. Bend the back knee, heel towards the bum. Let's hold on for a quad stretch here. Reach the right hand all the way up and around to hold on to the back foot. We want this top shoulder, head of the shoulder to be turned up and back. That'll feel better. Pull the heel in as close as you wish. We're still staying on the same leg. Release your quad stretch, that twisted monkey pose. Come into a regular low lunge on the right side. And change to pigeon. So we need flat palms. Pull the heel in towards the chest. And then change right knee to the right wrist. Left knee to the floor. Back it out until you can come down to the forearms. Here in pigeon pose, I'll give you some options. You can stay down and forward here. These are more progressively challenging to come upright in the pigeon here, like adding in the back bend. Take it into the quad stretch, heel towards the left hip. Reach left hand to the left foot. Or even crease of the elbow into the left foot with the right hand hooked behind your head. Any of those progressive options. Come all the way out. Find plank pose. Hold plank or add in a couple of push-ups here in between. Everyone, downward facing dog. Second side, step the left foot forward. We start in that Anjaneyasana. Back knee down to the floor, hands to the front thigh. Arms to the sky. Press your hips back, straighten the left leg. Nice little hamstring stretch in here. And we change to our twisted monkey lunge. Hands to the inside. Walk the left foot a little more out to the side. Bend the back knee to pull the right heel in towards the outer right hip. Choose to stay there or add the bind, left hand to the right foot. Remember, head of the left shoulder tries to roll up and back. It'll feel better for you. I always get a little quieter in those just steady stretch positions. Release the back leg. Change to your low lunge with flat palms. Pull the left heel in. Hover and plank for a moment. And then set left knee down behind the left wrist. Heel towards the right hip and walk the right leg as far back as works. Try to keep your weight even, front to back, side to side. Come down to the forearms. Again, you're free to stay right here. Often the most comfortable approach. Adding in some extra layers to this pose, you'd go back upright in the torso, bend the back knee, catch that bind, same hand to foot this time, right hand to right leg. More room, pull it in closer. More room, hook the elbow. Send the hand to the sky, left arm behind the head to try to catch it all. Mermaid pose. Release, release, release. Find plank again. 0, 1, 2, or 3. Tricep push-ups in between. This time we're going all the way to lie flat down to the mat. Cobra, stretch it out. As you lie flat down, then roll over onto your back. We're setting up for bridge pose. You can face either direction that works best for you. And bridge pose, soles of the feet on the mat. Bend at your elbows to push the upper arm bones into the mat. Really root the shoulders back of the head so that you have a nice curl of the neck away from the mat. A nice curl of the low back away from the mat. And then press through the feet to lift the hips. Test it out here. How are your knees feeling? If they're aching for a little bit more space, turn the toes out slightly. Let the knees turn out a little bit. Does that help you out? Might be yes or no, but again, what are the variations from the habits that you know, from the ways that you always approach the postures that maybe can be changed to work a little bit better? Stay right here for just another breath. And then lower the hips all the way down. Release the arms either down by your side, or you can sit on the hands for leg raises, legs straight up into the air. We're going one leg at a time. Right leg drops down about a foot above the mat, and then up. Left leg down and up. You can keep this going one leg at a time, certainly more doable than two legs at the same time. If you want to go two at a time, glue the inner edges of your feet together. Make the legs stay as straight as you can and go up and down. Of course, the range that you're working in is up to you. Make it more doable by cutting the range in half. Still looking for more challenge, lift the head and shoulders off of the mat, or take the hands behind the head instead of underneath the seat. We're here for about 10 more seconds. You've got this. Looking good. Yogis, now pull your knees into your chest. Give yourself a nice little squeeze. Relax the head and shoulders down if they were lifted. We're going to rock all the way up and over to all fours. You can do it swift and fast or in a couple of different movements. All the way up and over, all fours. Remember that tiger tail from the very beginning? Lift your right leg up and back, swing it over towards the left. But this time, set your knee down to the outside. Squeeze your calves together. Squeeze the heels so they're almost touching. And then try to sit back. And this is always tough on the calves here. Keep squeezing in. Your butt doesn't have to go all the way down to the heel, though it might. And lift both arms up to the sky. Okay, take a look. Which leg is on top? You're going to pat yourself on the back with the right hand. So I'm guessing your left leg is on top if you did like me. And you're going to take your right hand and pat yourself behind the back. And then take your left hand behind you to crawl up the back, palm open, to try to make the fingertips touch or somewhere close to it. Cow face pose. This really is the more traditional posture. You often see it sitting on the ground with the heels around you, instead of sitting right on those legs. Slowly unwind the arms. Take it out to all fours. And we'll get into it on the second side. So left leg up and back. Swing that tiger tail. Set the left knee to the outside of the right knee. Now, if the heels stay apart, you could sit on the ground in between them. But for the sake of this pose, we're trying to squeeze the calves together and then sit back. Yes, your top knee might pop up. I know that this isn't going to work for everybody. Make sure that you're being good to yourself. Change it up in the way that can work. Maybe it's just the arms or just the legs. All right, both arms to the sky. With the right leg on top, we're going to pat ourselves on the back with the left hand. Good job, me. And then take the right hand behind you, like walking up, up, up to try to hook to the top hand. That probably pushes your head and shoulders down. Try to lean back. Like an eagle pose when we try to be really tall. And then slowly unwind the arms and come out to all fours. Next pose is peacock. It's a tricky one. Get my mic out of the way. I want you to start in plank pose for this one. Do the steps that matter to you and that make sense for your practice today. So from plank pose, I want you to set your knees back down. Make the inner edges of your feet touch and then kind of walk your way back. So now I'm just sitting back, knees open on my heels. Okay? This in and of itself A lot of great work. That stretch in the feet and toes, especially in the wintertime when we're not doing it as much. Stay there and you'll get plenty out of this. Next ask is forearms together with the palms up. And then you stick those elbows into your gut. Once they're in your gut, you're placing your hands down to the mat with your fingers in that southpaw facing towards your knees. Okay. Now all we got to do is balance on our hands and get everything else off of the mat. Way easier said than done. I'm actually going to put my forehead down on the mat so that I can help get my legs off of the mat. So you curl in, place the forehead to or really close to the mat, and then walk the feet back towards plank again. Lift the head up like you would in plank pose. Try to lift one leg up. Try to shift your body weight forward enough, elbows into your gut, to get both legs to lift up. And then slowly unwind yourself and lie down onto your belly. It's just kind of a silly pose, right? Like, why do we need to do that? It teaches me a little perseverance. Bend both knees, grab hold of the ankles, and it makes all of the other pretzely positions seem not that bad to me as well. And that's saying something. Bow pose here, lift up. I usually think this is awful, but it doesn't seem as bad as peacock. Puts things in perspective. Lift, 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 bow pose. From bow pose, we'll release all the way down. Push back to child's pose. From child's pose, make your way to downward facing dog. And this is a big wide arm balance instead of that curled in arm balance that we just did. Side plank. Let's balance on left hand, outer edge of the left foot. Place the right leg up into the air. Right hand up into the air. Of course, you could step that right foot forward. Keep it stacked. Play with it however you wish. Grab hold, right foot and right hand. All of the fun things for Vashisthasana. Release back to downward facing dog. Give it a try on your second side. Right hand, outer edge of the right foot. Side plank, play with it. Do you want to keep the leg up or down? Step it over for more support or back knee down for more support. Possibilities are endless. This is yours. Take hold. And then release, downward facing dog. Set your knees down. I want you to be forward enough that you've got room to lie back behind you. Knees down to the mat. Take your thumbs into the crease of your knees and try to comb down on the calves until you're sitting on the floor in between your legs. If you don't get to the floor in between your legs, hey, you're just like me. I don't either. And I stay body weight forward enough or butt high enough that it kind of works. If you had a yoga block nearby, you can sit on that block. Try to be as upright as possible. Okay, your work is either to stay there, or if this is a position that works okay for you, walk your hands back. You could go all the way down to the forearms, or lie all the way back, head on the ground. Tends to be a pose that really works or doesn't work, somewhere in between. Challenging my habit to criticize myself and just stay present with what's working. Yeah, witness how that's coming in. And safe to crawl yourself back up if you're sitting back. Everyone through to all fours. Stretch out the legs behind you for a moment. Tremulous pose. We played with this last week from standing to go down. We're going to do the same thing. Place your hands on the mat. Be up, heels up in a squat. I want you to try to catch a little bit of air. Do it by watching me first. I'm going to push my weight more forward over the shoulders, lift one leg, and as slowly as I can, lower my shins down to the mat. Other leg lifts and come down. Do it a couple of times. You'll then shift back to your feet. Shift like you are in plank pose. Lift one leg. Try to lift the other one. And lower yourself down. So I'm kind of holding, yeah. And you are coming down onto your shins as you come down. And the other leg doesn't ever have to come up. Yeah? It's just that sense of transferring weight into the upper body to come down. We're going sort of like arm balance, back bend, arm balance, back bend. Twirl your wrist around, sit down on your butt. Lie down. No flow here, it's just give it a go, see what happens. End stages of the practice. Okay, friends, bridge pose, we've already done it, we've been there. Try it again, witness how it feels the second time around. Or take the hands at your shoulders in that southpaw stance again, flip the hands around. Lift your legs for bridge pose and then come into upward facing wheel. I like to pause on my head, set the hands better, see your elbows and your peripheral vision, and push. Make your way out of your bridge pose or upward facing wheel. Give your knees a hug. And we've got to rock ourselves back up and over to all fours. Go back into that squat that you came from in tremulous pose with heels up. This time we're going for turned crane. Make both of your knees face the right side of the mat, but make your hands and chest face that front short side of the mat. It should hook, like in a twist, your right elbow to the outside of your left thigh. And again, here we're trying to transfer the weight into our hands, out of our feet. We do that one leg at a time, one foot up, the other foot joins. Turned crane pose, try to hold it as long as works for you. And then you'll come down, back into knees forward, give your hands a moment. And we try the whole thing on the second side, so then the knees face towards the left. Twist the torso so that the hands face the front. Left elbow to the outside of the right thigh. Lean forward like forehead towards the ground like we did in peacock, and it can come all the way down to get the feet up, or keep the head lifted and try to shift the feet off of the ground. Ideally, the right elbow, the opposite hand, is in space, not locked against your body. As you come out of that pose, stand up, mountain pose. That's it. Stand up, mountain pose. Definitely keep the eyes open here for most focus and ease and balance. If it's not dizzying and feels okay, close your eyes for a moment. Your final back bend is a standing extension. So separate your feet about hip distance apart. Look straight ahead, bend your knees a tiny bit. Try to hug your elbows behind you, like your elbows are clapping behind your back. Kind of pushes your pelvis down. Scoop your tailbone just a little bit from that full tilt so that you can take your chest up, look up. You're either staying there or you can walk your hands a little further down your legs. Make sure this feels good the whole way. Continue to press the hips and pelvis more forward as you walk your hands back. I don't like to drop my head. I keep looking at the ceiling the whole time. And then ever so slowly come back. Keep the eyes open, look straight ahead. If you feel the least bit dizzy, bend the knees and fold over your legs. Like forearms to the legs, not head down. This helps. Downward facing dog when you're ready. And then take a seat on your mat in a straddle position. So we've done all the hard stuff, all the big back bends, all the arm balances. Nice straddle, sit at the back edge of the mat and reach your heels towards the front corners of the mat. And fold over, forearms or hands in front of you. So you can stay more up on the hands or go down to the forearms. Take a look at your feet. Try to flex your feet with toes and knees straight up towards the sky. I watch my kiddos do this all the time, and they both have knees bent and are like way inwardly rotated. I think that's a tendency for a lot of us. Just stay up higher if that's you. More bend in those knees and try to get the toes to face backwards instead of forwards. Take hold of your right foot and lift your left arm up to the sky. Trace a rainbow all the way over. Lift it up, reach over towards your left leg and take the right arm up to the sky and trace that rainbow up and over. Come all the way back up. Hold on to the outside of your thighs to bring the feet together, soles of the feet together, knees face out in Baddha Konasana or butterfly pose. Fold over. Stay there. Let yourself calm and settle. And then build your torso back upright and stretch your legs straight out in front of you. Seated forward fold, take your head down towards your toes. And I really do mean head towards the toes, so it's that sense of reaching rather than just like folding into the thighs. We made our way all the way through the doable and the difficult aspects of this practice. Change to lie down onto your back, hug your knees into your chest. A little thanks for the movement, for the community of movement together. And let's release for Shavasana. Extend your arms and legs. Get into a comfortable, quiet position that can be here on your back, or feel free to come to a different position, sitting, even standing, whatever feels right for you. Take a quick body scan. Notice where you're still holding tension and try to release a bit. Now read this passage about the tree that we opened with once more. It says, I reach deeply into the rich soil beneath me, made up of every girl and woman I've ever been, every face I've loved, every love I've lost, every place I've been, every conversation I've had, everything, crumbling and mixing and decomposing underneath, nothing wasted. My entire past there, holding me up and feeding me now. I am as ancient as the earth I'm planted in and as new as my tiniest bloom. I am strong, singular, alive, still growing. I have everything I need beneath me, above me, inside me. If you'd like to rest longer here, please do so. If you're ready to close this time on the yoga mat, come on back up to a seat if you're lying back. Place your palms together, thumbs to the sternum, in the closing gesture of Anjali Mudra. Anjali meaning intention or offering. I always like to offer the sound of Om, this ancient sound of becoming and being into the next space. I welcome you to sing along, to listen, or to tune it out. Empty out your breath here. And breathe in. Bow to honor ourselves, each other, and this practice. Namaste. All right, friends, as always, thanks for being here. Finishing up our